1.2.0 stage thumbnails. What this means is that in this update, there were some stages that had different icons for when you selected them on the screen, and I'll be showing which stages and a comparison between the two. And yeah, it was a bit of an odd change. I remember it kind of like catching my eyes off guard when I first saw it, and some of these changed in like a regular patch, like not even before the next big update. I'm guessing they just thought the old ones were objectionably better. I didn't like see any complaining if there was any about that, so that might have influenced it, but yeah. CCM CPU SDs, I know that's a mouthful, but it just means cool mountain, and then computer self-destructs. Yeah, that Mario 64 abbreviation. And I'm sure a lot of people who've played on this stage might know what I'm talking about, just that on this stage in particular, the computers have a really bad habit of jumping in the middle and just killing themselves for seemingly no reason. Like, they just do not know how to jump past a gap, but also just feels like they just deliberately walk down on their own, and it's really weird, and that seems like something that should be changed, but I'm guessing they can't really figure out, or it's just too complex to do to bother doing that, and I'm okay with that. I kind of prefer if they leave it because it's funny. SSB MSE, more abbreviations. What this stands for is Super Smash Bros. More Stages Edition, and this was a mod that came out before Remix, as you can guess, added more stages to the original game. And yeah, this was, as you can see, like kind of like the grounding standpoints for what could eventually become Smash Remix. And in the early days of this mod, they merged with this mod, and you can see a trailer for it on the channel. It's one of the earliest ones, and that's where a lot of the early stages for this mod came from. Pretty cool. Tiptop. This is an inside joke amongst the community and the devs, where they kept on teasing that Tiptop is basically confirmed, and that, yeah, he's definitely going to be in this game, and it's been a long-running joke, but hey, if it pays out and Tiptop does eventually get in, that would be fucking awesome. I mean, it's Tiptop, he deserves a spot. When stage variations were separate, yes, this is as it says. As you know now, you select stage variations under the same slot as their own stages as you would with extra characters. And this used to be different, where you would just select it separately, and I get why they changed that. It makes more room for everything else, and yeah, like every Omega and Dreamland variant was separate, and it would get to the point of cases like Dreamland or Yoshi's Story, where it would have like up to 4 different spaces in a row on the character select screen, and yeah, it was a bit funny, and there was a special icon to at least tell where it was. Old characters, texture / models. Going off more of this is that some of the characters used to look a bit different, mainly the original 4 added. Like, Dr. Mario used to have like a black tie that was just like drawn on, and Ganondorf used to look a lot more rough, and Young Link used to look a lot more rough. I've heard some call him the worst looking character before his big update from some people on the team, and that's a bit funny. And Falco, before this update even was a thing, or this mod really, he used to infamously look crusty in his reveal trailer and made fun of it, and yeah, I definitely understand the change. Dr. Mario, I would argue, maybe looks a bit charming with the texture, but yeah, like, his looks better, and it was changed a bit later than the others, but still early enough, and Ganondorf and Young Link definitely needed the overhaul. Snowpack's predicted Young Link overhaul. Here's where we start to get a bit weird. So, this is kind of a joke entry, but as we've said many times, Young Link totally changed in the Marina updates in King DD. But way before this, like, during like 2020, I want to say, so a few years before it even happened, it was probably even a thought at all. I hate saying it was that long ago. But anyways, he was talking about doing break the targets with unintended Smash Remix characters, because he did that with the regular game, and yeah, this is very early on, as you can tell, because that was before that was even a feature on this. But as he was talking about that, he said that he wanted to wait for the mod to be finished in case if there's changes to characters, and while doing this, he just offhandedly said, like, what if they changed Young Link, for example, and Yeah, it's just a bit funny how he said that, and Young Link went on to be on the most overhauled old character ad, and so, yeah. Smash Wiki entry overhaul. This one hits me personally, so excuse me if I'm a bit ranty. I was poking myself in the chest with my thumb as I was saying that, but... So if you go look up Smash Remix now on the Smash Wiki, or the SSB Wiki, I'm pretty sure that it's just like its own page now, and it's very short. It just shows you like the ad and characters and their artwork, and that's about it. It used to be a lot different. It used to be listed on the whole entire like notable mods page, and each update was written in like big detail telling you about what was added, like everything that was added, and how the character plays, how they're different from the original games if they are from that, so most of them. And I'm the one who wrote a lot of that, like a big chunk of it. There was a lot of other people who contributed to it, but I did a lot, and I was usually the first like add to it as soon as there was an update. I don't want to take all the credit though, because I don't deserve it. But there used to be way more detail and information on there, and it was probably one of the best places to like actually kind of like learn about that stuff aside just from like watching trailers and playing it for yourself. And even before they did that page change, I was like, hey, this was really fucking big. This should just have its own page like Project M. And they were like, no. But look at what happened. The moment I fucking stopped touching it, they fucking did it and they give it its own page. But they got rid of all of the information which I didn't have in mind, which erased mine and a bunch of other people's like work into doing that. So sorry if I sound a bit upset about that, but it's because I am a little bit, but whatever, I moved on. Smashville Easter egg. This is something I didn't know about until I made this Iceberg, and somebody on the Discord told me about it, so thank you for that. But on Smashville, if you pause and move the camera around and you zoom out all the way so you can turn around behind the stage and zoom back in and go where that little building is, you'll see Mr. Resetti is there, and yeah, it's a really nice little Easter egg. I might have to take a picture off my TV if I can't find it anywhere, so sorry about that. Falco Old Victory theme. So Falco is like so far again the only character to have his victory theme be changed. That is aside from like cases like Sheik or whatever where they just originally shared it with the rest of the series and eventually got their own. Falco in a very early update, I want to say like after like the character select expansion first happened, had his own victory theme, and I think it might have been based off the Macbeth music, if I'm remembering right, and eventually it changed to the one that he has now. I'm not sure why he did that. I guess the one that he has now definitely sounds better. The old one's a bit weird, but maybe that's just because I'm not used to it. But yeah, this seems like a very unknown oddity or change, I should say, just because of like how long ago it happened and how brief it was. Alt universe interpretations for Dark Samus and Lucas's inclusions. So this is a bit of a weird one, but it makes sense when I explain it, and it's something that people used to like talk about or headcanon or imagine, you could say, much more when they were newer characters, and this mod was more fresh as opposed to now. But Dark Samus and Lucas, with the whole entire like keeping it to the N64 era thing, don't fit too well. So Lucas kind of does because of Earthbound / Mother 64. But he had a different design in the trailers for the very brief glimpses that we get of him in there. And yeah, so that's a bit weird. Like, it makes sense they just stuck to this one that most people know. But Dark Samus didn't appear at all. Dark Samus didn't appear until Metroid Prime. And even then, it was just the 100% secret ending very briefly. And 2 was when they really started doing stuff, which is, of course, like a few years after the N64 was done. So some people like to do this like low like alt universe thing, which is just like generally a thing for like this childhood dream game. Imagine if we had this back then, being that Lucas was included to promote Mother Earthbound 64, regardless of if it was canceled. It'd be funny if it still was in those interpretations, but just simply saying that he always had this design. And Dark Samus is a bit more of a tricky case, being that you could compare it to Roy, where she appeared in this game first before anything, which would be kind of similar to Lucas too, if Mother didn't come out in this timeline already. But yeah, Dark Samus is like this case, and then like Dark Samus is like this original character, not so much like Roy, but actually an original character that was made quickly to fill out the roster much more cleanly because they couldn't do anything else. And it's like, Clone Samus, Dark Samus, new cool character, bam, there we go. And it was like, oh, this is interesting. Ooh, and that would be really interesting if that happened for real in these games. And then it's believed that later on in the GameCube, that Dark Samus was added just because of Smash Brothers, which isn't that too uncommon for Nintendo games for it to adapt stuff that Smash Brothers made up, but that's more of a minor case as opposed to a whole entire new character. And I don't know, who knows, maybe other people can see it as like Metroid 64 was more in development then, and Dark Samus was a planned character, so it's like another Earthbound 64 situation, and it just didn't fall through. But whatever, enough of that dumb fan headcanon stuff for a fan-made mod, but it's fun to do that, you know, it's innocent enough. But yeah, that does it for this layer. Next up, we're getting to the bottom of the iceberg.